Hello, I'm Stanley Ezroll, and I'm here to talk with you about a grave threat in our efforts to restore order to the world, to produce a new paradigm of peaceful collaboration rather than superpower conflict, pandemic, and famine, which I think we all know we are threatened with at this time. I'm going to read to you a statement titled, "Why LaRouchePAC no longer represents the policies of Lyndon LaRouche." This was issued on February 24th by Helga Zepp LaRouche, the founder and international leader of the International Schiller Institute and widow of the renowned American economist and statesman, Lyndon LaRouche. She announced then that through counsel, she has issued a letter to the Lyndon LaRouche Political Action Committee, LPAC, and its treasurer, Barbara Boyd, demanding that they immediately cease and desist, both now and in the future, from using Mr. LaRouche's name, likeness, and potentially other confusingly similar terms. The letter states that such use is likely to cause confusion among consumers since they may believe that you, Boyd, as an individual, LPAC, and/or the goods and services being offered are somehow associated with, licensed by, or authorized by our client, Helga Zepp LaRouche. Among the remedies required are that Boyd and LPAC immediately take all necessary actions to change the name of your political action committee and the name of any affiliated entities to one that does not include the term Lyndon, LaRouche, or any formative or iteration thereof, and agree to refrain from using the infringement terms now and in the future on any website, company emails, letterhead, advertisements, or other marketing literature or correspondence. To provide the background and context for this action, Mrs. Zepp LaRouche issued the following statement. What had been since 2004 the official website of the Political Action Committee, founded by my late husband, Lyndon LaRouche, the Lyndon LaRouche Political Action Committee, LPAC, has had its content taken over by a group of individuals associated with Barbara Boyd, the treasurer of that PAC, in a direction which I consider contrary to the central policies that my late husband stood for. While my husband was still alive, he was responsible for the overall policy direction of the PAC. But since he passed away in February 2019, Mrs. Boyd and her associates, without my permission, have taken over the content of the website's activities as a whole, and they have embarked on a path that I believe misrepresents both my and Mr. LaRouche's positions. My requests for the PAC to adhere to the policies of the LaRouche movement and to not associate the LaRouche name with policies that were inconsistent with our views, which started to occur within the PAC immediately after the death of Mr. LaRouche, were rebuked to such an extent that Mrs. Boyd and a group of individuals sharing her views issued a document in November 2020 proclaiming their irrevocable independence from the leadership of the LaRouche movement, myself included, founded by my husband over 50 years ago. While paying lip service to some of Lyndon LaRouche's ideas and using video footage of him, in reality, the political positions of the PAC increasingly diverged from the policies of the LaRouche movement and my late husband, for example, excluding any substantive evaluation of the international strategic situation in favor of focusing almost entirely on internal United States politics, principally on issues that were in line with the policies of Donald Trump. They increasingly failed to publish articles and videos that were critical of Trump on topics on which Lyndon LaRouche had personally frequently criticized Trump, such as his praise of the Wall Street financial bubble, the anti-China policies that came to dominate his presidency, and so on. For example, in a January 26, 2021 video posted on the LPAC site under the headline, "Make Impeachment Drive Backfire, Build Movement to Rescue Republic," Barbara Boyd stated, "If you believe they, meaning people, are beasts and that you can have a social credit system, which is really what we're putting into place with the cancel culture, if you behave certain ways, you get social credits for doing X, Y, Z, and W. If you're nasty or make stupid comments or step out of line, you get negative credits. That's what they do in China. That's what they do in any totalitarian society." These positions represent the beliefs of Mrs. Boyd and not Mr. LaRouche or the LaRouche movement. I disagree fully with that characterization of China, and Lyndon LaRouche expressed beliefs to the contrary of this characterization repeatedly throughout his life. As the mischaracterizations of Mr. LaRouche's political positions grew, I and the vast majority of the members of the LaRouche movement, both in the United States and internationally, felt that we had no other choice than to support the creation of a new organization and associated website. The LaRouche organization, TLO, founded in December 2020, to ensure Mr. LaRouche's name and likeness are only associated with his true policies and positions. The difference between TLO and the PAC becomes clear if, as one example, one compares the intention expressed in the TLO founding statement, "Who we are," which says, "The sole purpose of the LaRouche organization is the dissemination of the ideas of Lyndon LaRouche and the spread of his life's work, his analytical and scientific method of thinking, with the intention of realizing the solutions he offered to the many crises now facing mankind." Contrast this to the February 14th marching orders expressed on the LPAC site under the rubric, "Your Role in the New Politics." Do battle for the Republican Party. Force the traitors and the weak ones out and restore it to the tradition of Abraham Lincoln. Mrs. Boyd and her associates launched a redesigned website for the PAC in February 2021, which notably excludes 2 pages or topics which were formerly there. First, the extremely rich documentation of the 40 years of organizing activities that Lyndon LaRouche and his international associates were involved in across 5 continents on the planet. Intentionally or not, I believe that removing that history gives the false impression that Mr. LaRouche was only concerned about matters in the United States. This negates his passionate commitment to mankind as a whole. Second, The new PAC website also omits the record of the role of Mr. LaRouche and his international movement in the evolution of a new paradigm around the New Silk Road. Mr. LaRouche wrote numerous economic programs for Africa, Asia, Latin America, and Europe, beginning in the 1970s, and he spent a good portion of his life working and campaigning in and for the development of these countries. Mrs. Boyd and her associates have every right to establish a political action committee to express the views of Mrs. Boyd, but I believe they do a grave disservice to the late Lyndon LaRouche by misrepresenting, by commission and omission, his views, by associating his name with their behavior. For all of these reasons, we have hired legal counsel to stop the use of Lyndon LaRouche's name and likeness by the PAC and to preserve the integrity of his vast work.